right under the boat. That's another good one. Oh my God. That's a freaking Guntersville stud right there, boys. Oh my God. All right, guys, this is gonna be a quick little vid, but you guys know how much I'm in love with a Ned rig. Like, kind of like obsessed to an extent. Probably too much, but JT.
What?
Yeah. So throw this video a like and subscribe if you love JT. Don't worry about me. I'm useless, but JT's kind of the man. But what's cool?
I don't feel like you're useless.
Well, that's very nice, and he's nice. He's a gentleman.
He has many uses.
This is filthy, all right? Dude, video number 2 with JT, and it's filthy, like within 10 seconds.
It was 14 seconds. So what do you want me to be slow about this?
Oh
I've been told a lot I'm slow.
Oh my God. You're not slow, JT. All right, JT, so you being the ex-pro fisherman. Ex-pro.
Now I'm a professional talker.
Exactly, and that's what I wanted to do, like, for
tell?
a minute. I want to talk, dude, and do it all in your commentator voice. This should be good.
Okay, I will. Back to you, Mikey.
So, back to Mikey. You designed a Ned head.
I did.
And I kind of like yours, dude. There's a couple things, I'm going to be flat out honest. There's a couple things that I personally would kind of like change, but I love your head and the hook that you put on it.
That's all I can do.
I know. We can never take things seriously, but really, we're going to talk to you about that head. I want to know why you designed it that way, because it works different. So I've been fishing a lot in Alabama, you know?
Right.
And that head comes through rocks better. Like, I used to throw that Berkeley head a lot, and I still do, but that head with the little brush guard, because that's one of the few jig heads that comes with, like, a real brush guard, not like a wire. But, like, what's different about it, dude? What sets it apart?
So one of the things that we actually tested this a good bit, and I thought at first I was going to want a 60-degree line tie, which actually makes the line tie come out kind of at this angle. This is a 90-degree line tie. I thought that the 60 was going to be the deal. And we made some prototypes, and I felt like it got hung up too much. So I was like, you know what? Let's make a couple with a 90 in it. It's probably going to be worse, but let's try it anyway. I don't know what else, because you don't want a straight one coming out. That's going to get caught up in everything.
Right.
So I said, let's try a 90. Tried it, and it just worked. And it's one of those things, like, I don't really know how to explain it, you know, like, because really a 90 angle should catch more, but for some reason with this small bait, it just doesn't. And when you put the little weed guard on it, I mean, it really comes through some stuff good. And let me show you the whole reason why I designed this thing is, you know, most of the regular Ned heads out there, they just have that, and you got to remember, I got big fingers, but they just have a tiny little hook in them.
Right.
Well, this is still a small hook for those small baits, but it's just a little bit bigger. And the problem that I had with those real little tiny ones was when I would get a big fish on, 4 or 5 pound smallmouth, you know, a 5 pound largemouth, they were bending that little hook and getting off, you know, but it made such a nice little compact package that I was getting those kind of bites on it.
Right.
But damn it, I couldn't land them.
Right.
Or not land all of them. Like, I want there to be no failure. I couldn't land, so I went to just a little bit bigger hook. It's still a small, tiny little package, but it's just that much bigger. But it's just enough that I actually caught a 9.3 on Lake Lawton down in Palm Bay on this.
Seriously?
Yeah, and it still looked just like that. Now, don't get me wrong, I back reeled, spinning rod, I back reeled, I babied it, you know what I mean? But I mean, she made some massive runs and stuff. Dude, that came back unhooked, that hook looked just like that, not you know, opened up at all. So you can catch a big one on this, but it still gives you that profile.
That's really interesting to hear, because, like, if you guys, I don't know if I put it up yet, I probably did. I caught probably my biggest bag on Lake Wilson of smallies actually using that head, dude. And they would tug. And I had it on 12-pound fluorocarbon. And the funny part is you couldn't, like, when you set up on them, you couldn't give them anything. Like, you couldn't, like, let off. So I was, like, pulling on them pretty hard. And if I was using a standard Ned head, I would have probably opened it up, because I'm throwing it on a bait caster, a 7-foot medium heavy Dobbins. And he's not lying. Like, I actually had the balls. I mean, I gave him some drag, but I'd tug on these jokers and I didn't feel super scared about opening up that hook, or even, you know, sometimes on those smaller hooks, like you can literally pull the hook out of their mouth, dude, which kind of sucks. It happens with the spots sometimes, it happens with the smallies especially, and in the summer with the largemouth, you know, because their mouth is soft. But it was freaking stout, and I could kind of put the juice to them and not worry about that hook popping out. Here's the other thing that I wanted to ask you about, and this is something I'm learning, you know, up here in Alabama. So I'm still fishing shallow water, but it's not like shallow water like Florida grass, everything is grassy. Like, I can throw that Ned head in 2 foot of water. I can throw it up like next to a tree because a lot of it's a little more open or there's holes and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
What would you do? You change like line? Do you change how you present? Like, what kind of, I guess let's keep it simple. What kind of tweaks do you make when you're throwing like a shallow water Ned head versus if I'm fishing like bluffs or a ledge or something like that?
Well, it really depends on how heavy the cover is. You know, like if you're throwing the little holes in the primrose grass in the, you know, in the spawning time or whatever. I mean, I'll go to 17.
Really?
Yeah, but you still got to know, you know, like you probably maybe could bend that hook with 17, but that's an extreme end of it,
right?
You know, but most of the time, I mean, I just throw it on 12-pound line, and I don't, you know, it's not a technique like, you know, like a jig or something where you're dobbing it down in the middle of a brush top. You know, this is more of a stay back, clearer water, throw it to the side of the bush, throw it to the other side of the bush. You know what I mean? This isn't something that you're dobbing down in the middle of anything. So most of the time, I mean, 12-pound line is, you know, is all I use. And the other thing that I do, whether I'm throwing it on a 7-foot, you know, medium action bait caster, you know, which I do sometimes. A lot of times if I'm fishing it deep, I'll throw it on a bait caster, or you're throwing it on the spinning rod like I do here. Don't jerk when you set the hook.
That's what I found with those smallies. Yeah.
Don't jerk. Just when you feel that tick, what I do is just I start reeling really hard until the rod is completely bowed up, and this is whether it's a spinning rod or a bait caster. I just start reeling. Like there's no bite, boom, there's none of that. It's just like I feel the bite, or just lift up and you can feel it, you know, it's heavy and he's pulling down. I just start reeling really hard, basically until you can't reel anymore. You know what I mean? Like you just take,
like the rod loads up.
The rod's completely loaded up and you really can't reel anymore, and then I just kind of go like that and just pull, and every one of those suckers will be just pinned.
That's crazy, because dude, I've done that, but I never thought about it. Just, like,
But the one thing about that too that makes this one a little bit better is with the other Ned heads. Not only is this hook just a pinch thicker in wire diameter and just a pinch longer, but it also has just a little bit more gap.
Right.
So there's just, you can get just a little more into the mouth of the fish.
And a little more security. Maybe that's why they weren't, because, dude, I'm not going to lie.
You figure that other one, dude, it's
pinky,
tiny.
Dude.
Yeah,
like,
it's like,
man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you got bigger pinkies than me.
Why, thank you. But yeah, it's a quarter of the distance down more. There's not much bite to get, to get anything in there. So that's why I just feel like this one's just a lot better, unless you just have to go to something that diminutive just to get a bite, like if it's really, really, really bad.
Well, and that's when, because I'm going to piss him off a little bit. I've thrown that Clint Davis one, and that's the one that I like, though, when I want to go catch. Like, because, like those spotted bass, there's some big ones in Smith Lake, but, like, there's a lot of, like, 12-incher, you know what I mean, 13 inches.
Absolutely.
And to get them in the mouth, you almost need that little paperclip hook, if you will,
Yeah.
But, and that's the one where, like, it works really well, don't get me wrong, but that's where I've lost them, So, like, whenever I can go up to, like, that size Ned head, like, you don't look, because, dude, if you set up on them, like you're saying, they don't come off, dude.
Right.
You might break them off because they're so big or something, or they go into some cover, but they don't come off, dude.
It's not coming off.
No.
Right. Like I said, just reel. Don't jerk, man. Just reel till that rod gets all the way loaded up, and then just kind of swing sideways a little bit, and it'll just be in there every time.
Well, that's super cool. Like you guys know, I love that Ned rig, and I've been using JTs. I use a few different ones. Don't get me wrong. I'm not like simply plugging JTs because I like JT, but his does like.
Well, I wish you would.
Well, all right, JTs is great. But we'll put links to the stuff down in Tackle Warehouse. But the nicest thing, like, there's a couple nice things. The stouter hook, but that brush guard on there really sets that thing apart. You get that stout hook and you get that brush guard, and it really works well on these rocks. And I'm telling you, dude, if you guys fish for smallies in Alabama, I'm no expert, that thing kills it, dude. Take a stick bait, dip it in a little bit of chartreuse, and freaking fling it out there. You'll have some fun. But make sure to hit my boy up, JT Kenney Outdoors. You can subscribe to him on YouTube. He's putting up a bunch of videos. Make sure to like and subscribe this video if you enjoyed it. And if you want to talk some smack to both of us, drop it down in the comment box. But we will see you next time out on the water.